Okay, so 2 or 3 weeks ago, I finished up the job of replacing all the wheel bearings on this 2009 Mazda 5. And I went to have the alignment done since I messed with the suspension. And they told me they couldn't align it, that the camber was at negative 2.9 degrees and the maximum it could be was, according to the spec, 0.9 degrees. Now, the problem was, several years ago, my daughter was driving this car and hit a curb at a high rate of speed and bent all this up. And I have a video on me replacing all this stuff. But I had to bend the subframe just to get the control arm to go back in. The new control arm. I had to replace the control arm at that time. So I bent the subframe just to get that in. Well, obviously, if the camber is that far off and they can't align it, then the subframe is bent even further, a lot worse than I could have straightened it. So I'm in the process of preparing to replace the subframe. Now, what I'm talking about is this piece that the control arm mounts to, this piece back here. It goes all the way across. It's got several names. Some people call it the cross member. Some people call it subframe, and the manual, and I think Mazda calls it an engine cradle, even though it's not cradling the engine. It just goes across. What it is cradling, though, is the rack and pinion. So the rack and pinion and the stabilizer bar are connected to it, and but I think that's about it. I will be removing everything from the cross member or engine cradle and replacing it. I've got one on order. It's going to be here next week, but I'm going to go ahead and remove it today, or start working on it today. I don't know if I'm going to finish or not. The thing is, on some cars, when you lower that cross member engine cradle, the engine has to be held up. But on this design, if you look at it, the engine cradle's over here, the engine's over here. So the engine's going to be supported by engine mounts and also transmission mounts that are on top, up above, that you would access from downward through the hood. So I do not think I have to worry about supporting the engine at all. There is one connection. Let's see if I can get it back there. There's an engine mount there, but it doesn't look like it's supporting weight. It looks like it's there for torquing, right? When you rev the engine is going to turn on you, and that's going to keep that from happening. So I'll have to remove that mount from, disconnect it from the engine and transmission. It's sharing the purpose of both the engine and transmission, keeping it from turning while the engine's revving and decreasing. But so this job does not look like it's going to be that big of a deal. I'm not going to want to remove the rack and pinion, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to get a strap under it and tie it up to where it doesn't dangle on its own weight. If I succeed there, then I do not have to disconnect it from the steering wheel, and that will make the job a lot easier. Another thing, I'm thinking ahead on this one. I'll probably remove the driver's side control arm, but I'm going to leave the passenger side control arm on, because if you look at my first video on this stuff, you have to loosen the engine mount up on top. You have to basically almost remove it, and then you have to jack up the engine several inches in order to get this bolt right here out. Well, that bolt right there. If you don't do that, then you see it's going to hit this, and this is a long bolt that has come out way out. Another thing I might do is jack up the engine and then remove this plate. Maybe that would make a difference, but it looks like it would still hit here. And so I may leave this control arm on so that I don't have to just loosen the engine bolt. So when I install the new cross member, then I'm gonna have to install the control arm before I install, before I jack it up into position. So that might be inconvenient. In preparation, I've got to remove the strut, the knuckle. I've already in the process of removing the brakes on the other side. I'll be removing the brakes on this side, and that's about it. And once all this stuff is out of the way, oh, and also the vertical stabilizer bars. When all this is out, then I can start working on unbolting the stuff on top of the engine cradle, the rack and pinion, and the horizontal stabilizer. And I don't think there's going to be much problem with this, but I will let you know if there is. So this is the first part of this video. There'll be more pieces coming. I got a little change in plan here. Instead of removing the knuckle and the strut, I'm going to leave that all in. I loosened this nut. I got to retighten it, retorque it down, but I didn't need to do that. And also, I don't think I need to take the brakes off either. So on this side, I got carried away. I was able to remove the control arm, and that's all we're really trying to accomplish here. I don't even think I need to remove the vertical stabilizer bar going to the horizontal stabilizer. So I got to remove the nut for the I got to remove the connection for the tie rod to the knuckle. I have to do that, but I don't think there's anything else I need to do really. I did a lot of extra work. It's no big deal, but you can see I got the control arm out, so I'm going to try to do the same thing on the other side, but I'll have to jack the engine up like I discussed previously. I'll have to remove an engine mount or loosen it really loose so that the engine will go up when I jack under it. But yeah, I'm going to try to do that, and then that will just leave the cross member and the rack and pinion and the horizontal stabilizer bar. I got to remove those from the cross member. Then I'll try to start unbolting it. So yeah, let's see how the other side goes. Okay, so as I was explaining earlier, this bolt on the passenger side A-frame that comes out towards the front was hitting this compressor, the AC compressor. But I removed the engine bolt, the center engine mount bolt, and then I jacked it up underneath the compressor. It felt like it was solid enough to support it, so I tried it. I wasn't sure, and it looked like it did it just fine, and it gave me the clearance I needed to remove the bolt. So if you have problems getting that bolt out, try that, I guess. You know, use your best judgment. But my problem may be that this thing is bent, and it's been upward, so that I couldn't get the bolt out. Maybe on a normal frame, a normally unbent frame, maybe the bolt comes out without any bullshit. So anyway, just wanted to share what I did to get this out. So I've got both control arms out, both driver and passenger side, and this is the piece we're going to be removing. So I've got to get up under the car now and remove 4 bolts that hold the stabilizer in, and I think only 4 bolts that hold the rack and pinion in or attached to the engine cradle. So once I get those bolts loose, I'll see if I can figure out a way to strap the rack and pinion up so that it doesn't come down when I start removing the bolts for this, for the cradle. I think there's only about a half a dozen nuts and bolts that hold this thing in. So yeah, I think we're at the hard part of this job now. I think the hard part's going to be reaching these bolts and nuts, maybe. I don't know exactly what's holding. I think it's just bolts though, to remove the bolts for the stabilizer and this. If I can get that, then I think it's going to be easier after that. All right, I'm going to keep going. Okay, so I got all the bolts for the stabilizer bar and the rack and pinion removed from the cross member. There are only 2 bolts holding the rack and pinion on, and you can see it's got Loctite on it, so keep that in mind when you put it back in. And man, they were in there tight. There's very little room, and it took every bit of my strength to get it to break. These, on the other hand, came out real easy. They're probably only torqued to 30 pounds or something. I'll look all this up in the manual before I put it back together, obviously. But yeah, so 5 bolts. And I'm going to leave the stabilizer bar right where it is. I'm going to leave the rack and pinion right where it is, and I'll start removing the half a dozen bolts and nuts or whatever that's holding that thing up. And I'm going to drop it down, but I'm not doing it today. It's getting too hot. And also the part's not going to be here till tomorrow, and I need to get some bungee cords or something to try to support the weight of the rack and pinion. I don't mind so much about the stabilizer bar, but I'll probably just wrap around both of them and tie them up with the bungee cords. And then I will be dropping that cross member in the next video. But yeah, I did a lot of extra work I didn't need to do. I took the brakes off on the other side, and took the rotor off, obviously, and the splash plate or the dust plate, and also disconnected the anti-lock brake sensor. All that stuff was unnecessary. I'll put it back together. It's probably a half-hour work to put it back together. It's not a huge deal. But then again, it gives me a clear access point. So this side, it's going to be more difficult to bring it out, right? And I'll be taking it out on the other side because there's more clearance. So I'll use it to my advantage. Maybe you should do that. I don't know. Anyway, so I have not seen any videos on YouTube about this or anywhere. The manual gives you general descriptions on how to do stuff. Of course, I've probably been out here 3 hours today, but if you had a lift and proper tools, I would think you could do it in half the time easily. So 3 hours is not bad for where I'm at. And I am to the point where I'm ready to drop the thing and replace it. Hey, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching.